Welcome back to another Red Dice Diaries video. Now in this video I'm going to be talking about my recent experience of Google Plus Hangouts Live for use in playing an RPG, and what I think works well with it, what I think doesn't, and how our first experience of it was. Now, you may or may not recently be aware, you certainly will be if you're keeping up with my channel, that I ran my very first Google Plus Hangout roleplay game last Sunday. It was a mashup of two games, the mashup being the concepts of Grand Theft Auto, the computer game, and Call of Cthulhu, or the Cthulhu mythos to be more specific. Now, part of the problem I always find with doing anything like this on a computer, or indeed anything that involves a computer, are the inevitable technical hitches that occur, and our experience was no exception. One of the three players, Foz, suffered difficulties connecting initially. Eventually we managed to sort that out, and there was a long period during the middle of the video where I knocked my mic and was unable to broadcast sound for at least a few minutes until I worked out where the connector had come loose. Now, all of these delays did set us back a bit, and also we were forced to be a player down. My wife Hannah was hoping to join in with the game. Unfortunately, the strain of two people being on a G Plus Hangout Live proved too much for my now somewhat antiquated internet connection to stand, so it looks like we'll have to invest in some sort of speedier or more high capacity broadband before we can both be online at once, which is a shame, so I would have liked to have got her involved in the game. Now, I used a modified version of the Fate Accelerated system for the game, and the only way I really modified it was I cut down the number of aspects and the numbers of stunts just to streamline things. I also didn't use the stress or the consequences for damage systems as detailed in Fate Accelerated. I simply gave all of the players, who were all humans, a number of damage points, in this case 10. Once their 10 damage points had been ticked off, that was them out of action, to use the terms of the game. Now, I can see that for a storytelling system, a sort of light system like Fate Accelerated, one that's designed around the game fiction rather than lots of minute rules, that Google Plus Hangouts Live is perfectly adequate. And indeed, many of the apps are extremely useful in this department, especially the great Fate dice rolling app at www.diceboy.com. I highly recommend that if you're going to do any Fate gaming. It makes it brilliantly easy for everyone to see the dice rolls that are being made. I can see, however, if you're playing a slightly more crunchier or a slightly more rulesy system, that more advanced apps or software may be necessary in order to deal with the greater amounts of bookwork. Now, if you've got a games master who can handle all of that and players who can handle all of that, more power to you. Enjoy yourself. I wouldn't want to stamp on anyone else's enjoyment. However, for myself, who I'm maybe not the best person in the world at RPG bookkeeping, I'd like to keep things as simple as possible and as streamlined as possible, and Fate Accelerated and Google Plus Hangouts Live together worked great for that. And I think one of the main positives of the game and Google Plus in general is that it's a great way to game with a different bunch of people. In my case, it was my friends Afro Dave, Foz, and Pigeon, who are part of my LARP group Squad D at the Lorien Trust system of events. Now, although we meet up on a sort of semi-regular basis to go to LARP events, we don't really see each other a great deal outside events since we all live in different parts of the country. And both Pigeon and Foz have lamented the lack of tabletop action, so to speak, in their area. And Google Plus was a great way for us all to have a game together without having to arrange for an entire weekend for people to travel to various different towns and cities, etc. And I thought it worked great for that. And all the guys seemed to be really enjoying playing the game, and I certainly enjoyed running it as a games master. So thanks very much to the players for that. I thought they were all really invested, all really jumped in with the spirit of the game, all really grabbed hold of the concept and sort of rode it for all it was worth. Especially Pigeon, who it was his first ever tabletop session, and I thought he did extremely well for that. Two thumbs fresh to him. Couldn't have asked for more from someone. And if it hadn't been the case that I knew in advance, I certainly wouldn't have guessed that it was his first tabletop session. Now, we've already been talking a little bit after we've wrapped up the Grand Theft Cthulhu game, since we were forced to schedule a second session due to the hardware problems and the technical hitches pushing our schedule back a little bit. We weren't able to fit the entire session in one night as originally planned. However, we're planning to play out the second part of the game, which has been christened the Ballad of One-Armed Whatley, for reasons that anyone who's read the synopsis of the session on my written blog or has watched the video will find quite immediately obvious. And once we've ran that out on the Tuesday, we're already talking about running some sort of fantasy game perhaps after that. I'm pushing using the Legends of Anglaire rule system, or at least a simplified adaptation of that with Fate Accelerated in possibly a Conan style background. And the very fact that the guys are already getting so enthusiastic about potentially doing a regular campaign seems to suggest that they've all really got into the spirit of it and that everyone enjoyed the Google Plus Hangout experience. And indeed, we might even have a guest star playing Mr. Graves, Louis Graves, the fast talking, slicked back, vice ridden pimp contact of Denny, who rang him up on his mobile to inform him that they'd been double crossed by the family during the first episode. So hopefully that'll pan out and we'll have a guest star portraying him in a more full light rather than just me doing his voice over the mobile phone. I'm very much looking forward to running the next session, and I think it's been a very positive experience, and I'm already building up ideas for a more long-running campaign. I also hope to potentially get involved with some games online with people who perhaps I don't know outside of the Google Plus environment. It would be nice to expand my repertoire of roleplay to include other people, and I think that Google Plus Hangouts Live would be a great system for doing that. So let me know what you think about this or your thoughts in the comments box below. If you've enjoyed this video and you want to be kept up to date with everything I'm doing and any further videos that are put out, please click on the subscribe button, and I look forward to reading what you've written.